7 o'clock. Call this meeting to order. Everybody here has been here before. We're good to go. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since everybody's been here before, we'll dispense with all of the administrative items. We'll go right into the order of business. Final site plan amendment, Myers Finger Lakes RV. Dan.
Point of order. Do you want to approve the minutes first?
Oh, very good. Thank you. Motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Anybody have any comments, questions, or changes? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Let's go now to
abstain.
Yeah, Doug. That's right. Okay, Doug. Oh, by the way, just for everybody here in the room, and there's nobody else online, I take it.
Nobody else online.
Doug is at Hunt Hollow, Doug?
Yeah, I'm down at Hunt Hollow. My son's high school ski race is down here tonight. So it's the first one that he's been able to do this year because he got COVID and had to go through that whole process. So.
Man. Well, we'll get you out of here quick tonight, I hope.
That's fine. Thanks.
Okay, so Myers RV. Dan, tell us the story.
All right, Myers RV had an application in for a final site plan amendment to allow for their sign. The sign that you guys have seen on the elevation drawings, and this has been withdrawn due to the size. It needs a variance, so it's he's applying to go in front of the ZBA, not come in front of the planning board. So we would like to know your thoughts on this board on this size so that we can relay that to the ZBA.
Right.
Like I said, the size is over the size for code per the MSOD. But when you look at all the elevations, that is the size that they suggested all along. So.
Right, and if everyone saw my email, I think it's right sized. Aaron and I had a couple of conversations about that. I think it's the right size. It looks good. We've approved the elevations with that size of sign. It, I think it fits perfect for the building. I guess we'll go. Ron, did you have anything else to add about it? Go to Aaron. Do you have any comments about the sign?
I think it looks fine on the building, but my concern is the amount they want to go over. Obviously, the ZBA can approve it or not. Is this something we should look at going forward? You know, maybe not just square footage, also include percentage of something to say the size of the building.
So the old code, before we updated with MSOD, did have you took the face of the building and you could have a percentage, but it also counted how far away from the road you were. When we updated code, that was removed and we just put a size. But again, you do have a ZBA for this purpose, and if that's something that they want us staff to look at, I mean, staff can go back and look at the code, and we'll take your comments as well. That maybe that is something we have to revisit because it's the size of the building and what's allowed on the building might look a little strange and especially a small sign on a very large building.
Oh yeah, sure, I get that. Yeah, I was just hesitant because it's the overage.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the ZBA will do. You did before, as I did, and Tim did. We've dealt with. Were you on the ZBA? I didn't know that. Okay, we've all been there. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Sorry. Must have been during my couple-year hiatus. Anything else?
That's it.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it because we have been seeing this on this building since somewhat day one, I would say, with the renderings and stuff and how they wanted the sign. Yep. So, yeah, if they got to go in front of the zoning board at this point to figure it out, that's fine for me.
Tim?
Yeah, I'll leave it up to the zoning board. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I did the same thing here. I think my comment is it's right. It seems to be the right size for the building. We've seen it many times. We approved the elevations with that signage. It's up to the ZBA and what they want to do on that. So, Doug, I'm sorry you're there. God, keep me straight tonight. I'm trying to get Doug. What do you have on the sign?
I didn't have anything to add on that either. I mean, we saw it like that, I thought, before, so it looked appropriate, I thought.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Sorry about that. Keep me straight.
No problem.
Keep me straight. Okay. Next item up would be other board actions, correct? So we have the rules of procedure. So did everybody get a chance to review those? I sent out a copy with some changes.
We do have a resolution, right?
No.
What is this that we're looking at? The plan amendment
For
Myers?
Myers, we pulled, that got pulled because they withdrew their application.
Okay. Thank you.
They withdrew their application and it'll just go to the ZBA since we have approved the elevations, then the staff, building staff can issue a building. Okay. Okay, rules of procedure. I put in there the YouTube channel at least 12 months. That gives them the ability to keep it as long as they freaking want, but at least 12 months in there.
So, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
On that, I did talk to the chairman about how long they're going to stay on YouTube. At this point, they're up there until we run out of space and they tell us we have to take them out. So then obviously, just like our website, we can only keep so much data out there and then we take the oldest off and we put something new on. So, but it's going to be at least a year, if not longer, of videos up there available to the public.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but there was a gap there, so I wanted to fill that in with something. Ron, anything specific jump out at you in your comments?
I just went through yours on page 5 where you wanted to question whether it's really necessary to note that there are time limits once the various
Yeah.
and my thought, why I put it in there is that these rules and regulations are not necessarily just for people that have been on the board a number of years. It's for new people.
Right.
And that also the public understand that there are time limits there that we cannot unnecessarily delay acting on something.
Correct. My concern with doing that has always been whenever we make comments, some comments, and it's related to someplace else that's actually making the rules, that we have to change them if they change. But this seems pretty inaccurate. We can leave it there. I didn't have any real care one way or the other on that. We can leave that in there.
The next one you had was on page 8. We were talking about time extensions for approved resolutions.
Yeah.
I was just asking the question, does the planning board want to consider time exemptions not to exceed X number of days? In other words, normal time approval is 180 days, 6 months for somebody to get their drawings together and sign.
Right.
And then once in a while you'll run into something that somebody needs extra time on. And do you want to say that you'll grant that in 30-day increments or 90-day increments, or I'm just asking the question whether or not you.
How many times does that come up?
Well,
Can you give me an example? I mean, I know we've done a bunch of 90-day extensions.
yeah, we've done them for some of the Monarch Manor projects. We've done them for
Country Max,
Country Max number of times.
Yeah.
Over there,
Well,
before it was Country Max.
Yeah, Deep-Lease,
Yeah.
Country Max, that kind of
We
thing.
just did one for the mini warehouse up on Loomis Road.
Yeah.
90 days.
Now, those were like the mini warehouse, that was for, because they don't have their plans in there, correct?
They had them in and they were reviewed and there were comments and they were making changes.
I needed more time.
and it was close, the deadline was yesterday, and they wasn't sure they could get it.
Right.
So they asked for 90 days, and it sounds to me that they're gonna meet the 90-day period and get the drawings done. Just a question.
No, I get it. I mean, I would be, I don't think we need to go. I mean, 30 days would be probably nice, but then I feel like we're gonna do it every month for 90 days. So I'd rather give them 90 days and then.
Or do we just
hammer down?
give them the amount of time we think they need, whether it be 30, 90, or 180? I mean, there might be situations like the.
Oh, so we can change the timeline?
Yeah, so we get some flexibility in that to, to do
We
that.
approve something tonight and they need another 180.
Yeah, we can, because I think we got into that on, I think it was on Country Max where we gave them an extension based on the end of their whatever, so it ended up being more than 90 days. And you got upset with that one because it was defolice, but it was with Country Max.
And it was Monarch Manor, that one getting back to 5 times.
Yeah. Because there were extenuating circumstances, all kinds of different things. So I just like to leave ourselves some flexibility in there. I don't know if we need to tie that up.
Okay, the next one is on page 9.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't catch that. It was cite here the result of the 2-2 vote, and it's next paragraph down, so it's already taken care of.
Yeah, 2-2 basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then question you had about the town clerk providing a copy of the notification.
Yeah.
And I just asked, does this need to be specified whether it's electronic or paper? And
I checked with the clerk and she said sometimes we get them electronic, sometimes we don't. We do the same thing like with Victor, they'll always do electronic.
Yeah.
It may not with Manchester. I mean, I don't know the answer, but I think it depends on the municipality.
the next one was on page 12. We're under number 19. Any action to amend the rules procedure shall be placed on a meeting agenda. Why tie our hands? Well, if you're going to amend something.
Yeah, it's got to go on an agenda anyway. Yeah. By the way, I do have one on number 22, county referrals.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to change that to the paragraph says Director of Planning and Development and the Code Enforcement Officer review the referrals before they go. And just make sure that both of you guys are communicating on that before it goes to the county for referral. Okay. I'd like to change that to and, if you would. Does anybody have a problem with that? No. I mean, it's just one of those, the more eyes we see, the better off it is, I think, before it goes. You guys don't have, I don't think they do.
What? No, we're good.
Good? Okay, we'll change that number 22 to and instead of or. Yeah. That's just a quick review.
And there was one other one I think you had in here.
23, I filled in the names.
Yeah.
Did you fill in the names?
Yeah, I put Doug as the.
Okay, and then I have one.
And then you after that.
That has come up recently that I want to introduce tonight for your consideration.
Okay.
And that is in the future, when the fire chief gives his report, he's not allowed to say it's been very quiet out.
Because the last time, the next day was a big one. Yeah.
I knew I was going to hear something. I've heard enough from everybody else already.
I thought the same thing the next day, Ron, when it was like, oh, he talked too much that night about it. Look what happens.
We heard about it. I wouldn't be privy to it. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I mean, that was kind of a different circumstance.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I fixed the resolution number there too. I think it's resolution 208 of 21 for the MSOD.
okay.
I think those are the major comments other than we fixed Aaron's name on the back page.
Yep.
Anybody have any other comments, questions, concerns on this? Huh?
You got the ones that I was at.
Yeah. Okay. There was one there I did do something on. What did I do? Fix that.
I don't know.
When we call in or whatever, you know, I think some said like video, like what Doug's doing, but I mean, he's not streaming videos now. I mean, it doesn't, this is still like video as in he's on there.
Yeah,
But he doesn't have a camera, but it's still the same, right?
Yeah.
Just checking. I remember something like when you call in with video, but sometimes maybe you're not be able to call in with a video, but it's all the same. Okay.
Ron, go back to number 4 on page 6. And it says there, the board shall classify the class, or shall identify the classification of action under review as is first classified by state seeker. Right? Something about the way that sentence reads. It's on page 6. It's under item 4. It's the second paragraph. There's something about that is first comment in there.
As is first classified by the state seeker regulations. In other words, you're not classifying.
Okay.
You're just pointing out this is what's in the.
After I've read it now the 6th or 7th time, it made a little more sense to me. Okay, so with that, we have the rules and procedures. We've made the changes. John got all the changes. Anybody have any other changes we should make or not make? I have a motion to approve the rules and procedures with change.
So moved.
Moved by Adrian, seconded by
Tim.
Any other comment? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
DeLucia?
Aye.
Doug Beats?
Aye.
Aaron Sweeney?
Aye.
Adrian Bellis?
Aye.
Ed Henry?
Aye. Okay, we'll get those cleaned up and get an updated copy out to everybody, so we'll have them for the next meeting. Okay, next item up is the do we want to do the MTOD or the streetscape first? Okay, we'll start with the MTOD. Okay, number of comments on this one. My comment on this one is pretty clear. The resolution says guidelines, the adoption says criteria, then it says guidelines. I think we need to be consistent. Ron, help me understand why we are not consistent with criteria, guidelines, and requirements.
Well, to be very honest with you, I didn't have time to get into this today. I got interrupted this afternoon.
Okay. Do we want to wait and go over this the next time around or whatever?
Probably gives me
okay.
a chance to look at some of this stuff. We probably are going to catch when we do the comprehensive update to chapter 165 this year. I wouldn't want to get into amending a local law just to change the word shall or guidelines.
Totally agree. I totally agree. But on the other hand, if you go to my MSOD, streetscape guidelines, I put in comments that say, here's what the definition I saw of criteria, guidelines, requirements, and then the difference between shall and should from legalese. So I just think that we need to be consistent. And at the same time, I think we need to make sure, if we can, to give ourselves the ability to require something or not require it based on the situation. But if we leave it guidelines, then the applicant doesn't have a clue whether or not we're going to require it or not. And if we make it a requirement, they can put it in and we can always say later on, we don't need it. And wait, I'd rather have criteria and requirements on everything and then give us the ability to waive. Because that just gives us all the flexibility we need to hold people's feet to the fire and not have them go run into court and say, well, it says it should, and we don't think it should, so we don't think we should have to do it. So, okay, we'll let staff then relook at this and everybody can have another look. And these two, and we'll go from there. I know staff's pretty busy.
You want it back on your...
We'll put it back on the next agenda. I think we need to get to it and get it done.
Yeah.
Doug, I know, Doug, you sent in 2 comments too.
Yeah, I had a few in there. I guess I could look at where they might fit. I think the comments I had could go into either MSOD or MTOD, But as Ron mentioned about if some of these might be captured with a rewrite or an update, I guess, of 165, they could even go in that. So I think that might be something that, you know, we could look at and see where they might fit best. I guess the only one that I had more was on the MSOD and that sign criteria, because I struggle understanding that formula, and I could just be easier if we just told them what the square footage was that would be allowable, you know, and base that on the speed limit.
Yeah, except that with the LaCroix project there, you're going to have buildings that are going to be visible from 3 different roads. And Dan and I struggled over this design feature. I understand it's complicated to look at, and we had a hard time coming up with, you know, what we did come up with, but we wanted a standard size along 96 and then a different size along town roads. And with those 4 pads there out front of the LaCroix project, it's an anomaly that we had to try to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I think we have basically 3 speed limits in the MTOT and the streetscape area. We have the 30-mile-an-hour.
We don't have any 30.
We don't have any 30, that's right. All we have is 45 and 55, right?
Is it 45 or 40? 40.
40?
40.
40, 45. 40, 45, 50. I don't know. I think like 40, 45, 55. We have a standard size for the 3, but whatever works here, guys. If you guys can understand it enough to tell us that it meets the code or doesn't based on this, great. If not, then
that was for the project. You may want to come in off of when you're coming in off 96, resort to the area speed limit, because coming in from the other way, the area speed limit is 30 miles an hour.
Oh, gee, well, we'll have 30 miles an hour.
All subdivisions are 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Coming in off Carmen's Way is 30 miles an hour.
Yep.
And with a 30-mile-an-hour sign, you can get away with 1 sign at the beginning that stipulates it's an area speed limit. You don't have to have it at every 1,000 feet with one at every intersection.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll just look at those and we'll come up and review it the next time around. Okay, so we'll do the MTOD and MSOD next time around. Take a look at what we've got, the comments back and forth, and we'll look at those. Next item up is, did that Redfield Grove LOC get taken care of? Everything's good to go on it?
We're good to go.
We're good to go. Signed, sealed, delivered. Do I have a motion to waive the reading and approve the LOC release 7 for Redfield Grove Phase 2?
This is partial.
Partial, yeah.
Motion by Tim.
Motion by Tim, second by
Aaron.
Aaron. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Jim DeLucia,
Aye.
Doug Beats,
Aye.
Aaron Sweeney,
Aye.
David Bellis,
Aye.
Ed Hamilton.
Aye. Okay, next item up is acknowledging the withdrawal of the 4-lot subdivision staff.
Yeah, we had a request to withdraw this subdivision application. It appears that they are going to sell it as 1 lot. So
Okay.
do not
Somebody else gets to do whatever they want.
Exactly.
So they do not need subdivision, and this is just an acknowledgement so the board is aware that there's not a project that's out there between there.
Okay.
And just to add on to that, the attorney who was the applicant sent an email to Sarah, and she's got that in the file, as well as the land surveyor sent a letter in saying that they were withdrawing. So there's 2 sources of documentation there that
Perfect.
were covered.
All right. That makes that easy. Okay. Open discussion. Ron.
I'll be short tonight. I have really nothing to report.
Good. Dan.
New year, new starting.
All right, your next meeting, you have a 2-lot subdivision for David Caps. You have Comra preliminary site plan for some changes that they want to do over there on their current site, and then you have the M3 that you heard of.
Yeah.
That presentation at your last meeting, I believe, or 2 meetings ago.
And we put it off because they have so many items.
Yeah, so they are coming back to you at your next meeting, and then of course we just moved the MTOD and the MSOD
Okay,
to that next meeting as well.
let's make sure we get those out with whatever change you guys want to make to them, and then so we can look at them and make sure we're ready to go. I'd like to tie those up next time around.
Well, some of them we may not be able to make.
Right. Yeah, if we can. Next item up. Okay, that's it, Dan.
Yeah.
Tim, highway.
Just got the trucks all loaded up, ready to go for the snow tomorrow, and, you know, getting my feet wet.
Wait, baptism by fire.
That's it. Yep.
Speaking of fire, how's it going over there, guys?
No, you know,
It is what it is.
we're dealing with the cold, and everybody's been good, and we'll see how tomorrow works out with the distribution.
Yeah, should be interesting.
No, we're hanging in.
Cool. Public, Mr. Public.
I had nothing.
Board, anything from the board? Any other comment? Doug, anything from you, buddy?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, I don't have anything. I mean, we continue to do what we need to do. Staff will reach out to me if they need something. We'll go from there. With all of that, there's no other public online. Everything's good to go. Motion to adjourn by Tim, seconded by Adrian. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Beat.